Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
Me, I'm Rob. Make it to the show twice in 1 week. Look at me go.
I know. It's like you're regular again.
I was stuck in Manhattan again.
Yeah, sure. Blame Manhattan.
Oh, dude, you try to get out the Holland Tunnel.
I moved to Florida for a reason, I'm just saying.
Oh, my God.
Just moved to Florida for a reason.
Terrible.
Now, don't get me wrong. Tampa traffic is crap, too. But it's not nearly as bad as, like, New York area.
I was about to say, don't compare it to New York.
Like, my ride to work is supposed to take me about half an hour, 25 minutes, maybe with, like, smooth sailing. And it'll take me, like, 45 minutes to get home to an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
Sometimes it takes you 45 minutes to get onto the Holland Tunnel.
See, and that's the problem with living in that area that I just didn't like. Is like, like I said, I love the people, I love the food. There's a lot of things I love about it, but when it boils down to it, I can't spend 3 hours a day just traveling back and forth to work. That's insanity. That's a work-life balance issue right there.
Yeah, well,
that's why #Florida life.
Yeah, well, that's technically work time, so it's not even work-life balance. That's work time. It's a half an hour commute afterwards.
I'm fine with that. Half an hour, I'm fine with.
I was say that's my commute home.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but still, you're not getting home. I know what kind of hours you do, you maniac.
Yeah.
Maniac. What's up, Jay? See Jay there in the chat there.
Maniac, blue hearts.
So, guys, listen, we're going to go over a few bit of news here. There's a little bit of stuff to go over there with you. Again, be very frank with you guys. This is getting that 6 week stretch that you get every year where you get issues of, mini camp and OTAs are now getting over because tomorrow, Thursday, is the last day for that. And then you get 6 weeks between that and the training camp, guys. So, we'll still find news to give you guys, but the episodes might be a little bit shorter as that happens there. Because like I said, we're not going to BS. We're not going to make up stuff for you guys just for the sake of going, oh, guess what? This person's horrible. Oh, this person's great. Yeah. And it's like, we're just going to give you guys the news. Same as we always do.
Did you hear what Skattebo's mom said about his neighbor?
First off, don't bring up Skattebo's mom after what happened with Jackson Dart's mom.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on there. I'm not saying anything. There was no story I said. I'm just saying. People are going to take it there. They're going to take it. But
take me there.
But yeah, guys, we do have some stuff to go over here. We got the latest Giant rookie signing here, which is actually the last one too as well. We got 4 players worked out by the Giants here recently as well. We got offensive line being tired of being crap. About time.
It only took 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. And Jordan Ronan giving his list of players that stood out to him this spring. And you guys know we're always a big fan of his work, so I got to include that in this for you guys. So let's break right into it here with the last signing here for the rookie class of 2025, and that's Cam Skattebo.
Skattebo.
He's a Skattebo. I feel like they should just read that song. There we go, a little Skattebo action there. Listen, we knew it was going to get done. Like, there was no doubt that he was going to sign. He was going to get it done. This is not going to be a Cincinnati Bengal incident there. Those of you guys that are NFL fans, the whole know what I'm talking about there. But this one's all done. The rookie class is officially all 100% signed, sealed, and delivered. And that means that we don't have to worry about any of them not showing up for the training camp. Obviously they've all been there for the OTAs, the mini camp, the rookie mini camp, all the stuff that is sometimes you see rookies, usually show up for without deals. But once training camp hits, you don't really see that. That's when they start kind of holding out. Again, unless you're the Bengals and you're totally messing up a scenario. Just saying. So, like I said, glad to see it done, though, like I said, it's a formality. Congratulations on your new millions of dollars, Skattebo. You are officially a millionaire.
Skattebo.
So, really, the scary thing is his deal is like gonna. I don't know how much a millionaire he's gonna be after he gives all the money. Because people forget you got to give a percentage out to your agent. You're paying like ridiculous taxes on it.
Yeah, he's definitely paying 40% taxes plus his agent.
And that depends on where he lives. Keep in mind too, because game day checks then also go out too as well. And the game day checks they're based on where you live and where you work. So yeah, it's all sorts of craziness there. But it's 4 years, $5.273 million, including a $1.073 million signing bonus. So, like I said, happy for the kid. He was a guy that was really scrappy in college. There deserves a little money there. So glad to see he gets it. Let's get into though the players that might be Giants. And I'm not talking about the band they might be Giants. Istanbul, not Constantinople now, but
yeah,
we do have to talk a little bit about Istanbul. No, we're not talking about.
Even old New York was once New Amsterdam.
Why they changed it? No one knows. I remember.
I try to remember that way.
I try to remember the lyrics. It's been like 30 years since I've heard that song. I feel like it's something ridiculous. Wasn't it part of like New York? Space goes coast to coast for a while and stuff like that too.
Maybe there was Tiny Toons.
It was something. No, not Tiny Toons. It wasn't.
It was 100% Tiny Toons. Look it up.
Was it? Okay.
Look it up.
No,
right now.
Someone made a music video with it. I don't think it was on Tiny Toons. Anyway.
It was on Tiny Toons with the music video where they had all the Tiny Toons.
Okay. I'll take your word on it. You're more of the Tiny Toons expert than I am. So, but yeah. Let's talk about the players the Giants did work out here, though. So K'Von Wallace is probably the biggest one there. 27 years old, 5'11", 205 pounds. So biggest in name, obviously, not necessarily in stature. 4th round pick of the Eagles back in 2020 from Clemson. So obviously, this is a guy that people that are regulars with the NFC East as a whole, and remember him from his playing days with the Eagles. Will probably remember him there. Spent last year with Seattle. 71 career games overall, 19 starts. Has also been a contributor on special teams the last few years as well. So, definitely someone who could provide some, benefit there. So, you also got safety Millard Bradford, 25 years old, 5'10", 191 pounds, undrafted out of TCU last year. Did spend time with the Saints there. 3 games, 3 tackles as a whole. All of his snaps were on special teams. His nickname is Nook.
He did it off of the Nook.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird. But yeah, he got the chance though to spend a little bit of time though with the Saints. Like I said, 3 tackles, 3 games. That's not bad for a special teamer, guys. Like if you're averaging 1 special team tackle a game, that's not bad. But again, we're also talking mid-June and he's available. So I'm not going to get overly excited. I'm just saying maybe there's some potential for some special team outcome.
Maybe.
Possible. Outside linebacker, Kenny Dyson. So not to be confused, but the guy who created the vacuum cleaner, of course. 23 years old, 6'3", 235 pounds, went undrafted from Bryant University there last year. Spent last year with the Panthers, 2 games, 2 tackles. So again, 1 tackle per game thing, same as Nook there. 21 special team snaps and 10 on defense. Didn't get on the field a lot. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Then we got guard /
we got Dyson and Nook.
Yeah.
It's a nice combo.
Yeah, I just say, oh my god, I didn't think about that. As Jay says, oh gosh, was the vacuum cleaner reference into the shot at Rob? I didn't even mean it as that. He doesn't sell Dysons. He sells Oryx. He gets that funnel and
the rainbow
and that vacuum cleaner.
The rainbow. It's a wet vacuum.
No, you get the funnel and you get the bowling ball and you put on the vacuum. Remember that commercial? The whole trick was the funnel. The funnel's what made it obvious. Every single vacuum would have done that. Anyway, guard / center Carter O'Donnell, 26 years old, 6'5", 313 pounds. Went undrafted back in 2020 from Alberta. So he's the Canadian. What's that old boot?
You're doing boot.
Spent years with the Colts team, mostly on the practice squad. Last year, 2023, I should say, played 5 games with the Cardinals, including 3 starts, and then didn't play again in 24. So again, let's be honest, besides Wallace, I don't think there's a lot of people that I go, ooh, here we go. This player could do something. Like, good players aren't usually available mid-June.
Typically not, unless there's something going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, if they're coming off an injury, that kind of thing like that, I can see it. I got to think that what's going on is that they're just, looking for some extra camp bodies. Camp body. But again, Wallace is the one guy that I go, maybe he could be a backup safety. Like, we don't exactly have the most amazing backup safeties, So that's what I'm thinking there. So, but again, we'll see. Who knows? Sometimes you bring in a guy that's out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, he's just the right fitment, and something clicks. So, all right, we're gonna get into the next segment here in a second because Jay, what's going on? So Deb says I had a rainbow.
Yeah, talking about the rainbow vacuum.
Oh, is that a vacuum? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Oh,
it's a wet vacuum. It goes from suck to blow as well.
But then now you're making a Spaceballs reference.
Oh, but it actually goes from suck to blow.
And the sequel's coming, by the way, for those who didn't see. But then Jay says we're questioning if you really want to be a goofball, Deb. Deb says, who is we? Apparently Jay speaks for us now. Listen, we do not question Deb. Deb is an OG.
100% OG. And Deb, for extra credit, did you buy it off a guy going door to door?
Jay says no, she was making huge contributions to another content creator. That's fine. People could do whatever contributions they want to ever. We do not get upset at that whatsoever, Jay. Let me be very clear on that. I'm just glad and happy when people support content creators in general.
Yeah, sharing scary, man.
Whether it's us, somebody else, honestly. And that's I was on in the chat with the New York Revival last night, and somebody gave them like $200. So, that's awesome. Seriously. That's I was like, that's awesome. I guess I root for everybody to make contributions to the money, that's for sure. Deb says no, it was a friend's kid. Jay, are you just like stalking Deb on all the random YouTube stuff she's on now?
Or are we on that content
hurting the Golden Corral Fund? It can't just be me. It has to be a team effort. Oh, and he has to name drop LOL. What? I didn't name New York Revival. It's another content creator. That's not a name drop. Oh my gosh.
Do we always do that?
Oh my gosh. And she goes, it was on Giants Insider earlier, Drew, Jay's favorite podcast. Yeah, because he did say that the day when he was in their chat. Yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah, without Jay. That hurts more than the money thing. Anyway, let's get back to the news before we cry about being Jay Silver Medal. So, actually, just for that, we're going to pay the bills. We'll be back after that. Let's get Rob a tissue. He needs one.
Thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the Goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
All righty, guys. Just seemed like the appropriate time to play that. All right, guys. So let's talk about the offensive line, because apparently the offensive line is sick and tired of being bad. That's just, it makes you wonder, like, were they not sick and tired prior? Like, is this
It
a
only
new
took a
thing?
decade
Like,
for him to come
yeah,
out and say something
seriously.
like that.
We were okay with sucking the first couple of years, but after that fifth,
Yeah.
sixth, seventh year, that really just
Listen, after 9 years of sucking, we were like, maybe we have to work on something. Gave it a couple more years and we're tired of
oh
it.
my gosh. So this quote actually came from Jermaine Eluemunor. So at least he's only been here on the squad 2 years. And you can say he was actually probably the most consistent lineman we had last year. I'll give him that too.
Yeah.
So he doesn't suck. But the line as a whole. Anyway, he said, I think people are just sick and tired of not being good, and it all starts in the trenches. The offensive line, defensive line are where games are really won. We can talk about the receiver room or DBs, and the quarterback is a really important position, but games are really decided in the trenches. And so it was intense, especially with the players that we have on offensive line and defensive line. But at the end of the day, everyone got better from it. He says, I mean, going 3-14 is terrible. That feeling you get after you win the game and truly see everything you put in the week and all the work you've been putting in, paying off. There's no feeling like it. And it's addictive. And that's what you want week in and week out. And that's what we want to get. And that's what the team wants to become. So I think you saw the attendance. I don't think anyone missed OTAs. Everyone was out there. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm glad they're putting the work in, but I don't think it was a work effort issue for most of these guys. Like, I want to be clear on that. Like, we try to separate sometimes. Like, we joke around, we say things that maybe you shouldn't. Like, this team sucks, that team sucks, that player sucks. Like, I get it. Like, it's not a professional thing. That's why we're just content creators, not media people. That's the fun of it. We can speak our mind. We're fans. But what it boils down to it is, I don't think these guys necessarily were not playing hard, not practicing hard, with some exceptions. I mean, there's always people you look at and go, we've talked about plays and stuff like that with, we called out Bobby Okereke even a couple times last year, and he's been a great player for us, but we called him out because we saw it. We saw, last year, obviously Deonte Banks, that was a big issue, and so there's players that, don't get me wrong, that don't necessarily put in 100%, but I don't think most of them are doing that. So, I don't want to, question them in that part of it there. But the efforts haven't necessarily produced what they wanted to produce, and that's the issue.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot to be said about the lines and different coaching, different styles, what's going on. So, like, we changed offensive line coach last year, and it looked like there was a big difference.
There was.
Let's see year two, what's happened.
The problem was there wasn't much of a big difference in the injury report.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Again, I'm not as down as offensive line this year. I think if we can get healthy for once, and it's a big if. Yeah. But if we can.
Big ask.
Then you say I have a big ass, but
you're always asking a lot. Such a big ask.
But if we can actually keep the offensive line healthy for once, especially Andrew Thomas, like, this is night and day. I mean, when he was on the field those first couple of weeks, that was good offensive line. It played average, which to us is very good at this point because we've been so long now with crappy offensive line play. So
yeah, we talked about leading into last year. Like, listen, if we go up to spot 16, like, that's an awesome improvement. Some people are like, oh, we got to be top 10. Like, no, like, we're bottom 30.
Yeah.
It's like, so
like 31st for how long?
Yeah. So when you go up halfway up the pack, like, it's a big jump. It's a big improvement.
Yeah. Like I said, it was a good start to the year, and just the injuries just kind of happened. So, as Jay says, you need some O-line, we'll say bass kickers. We'll put it that way. Yeah. Cursed once through this segment. Let's keep YouTube happy. Kneecap biter dirtbags, sick of all these nice guys. So, yeah,
there's some mud in his eye.
Some of the best offensive linemen have that attitude, and it's funny because you'll get guys that are like, yapping and talking trash and playing, not necessarily dirty, but kind of riding that line. And you'd see them afterwards. They're some of the nicest people ever. Like, I always give the example of Mark Schlereth. Like, he was a really good player. Like, I know not everybody's necessarily as old as I am to remember him playing, but when he was
So old.
he was very good at talking trash, and he was kind of the guy that controlled some of that line there because he kind of got in people's faces and told them point blank, "We're not going to take it. What do I have to do to get this job done?" That's just what he was and what he did. And he was a really good player for a lot of years, both in Washington and in Denver. That's the kind of player we need, is that guy that says, "I don't care what I have to do to get this job done. I'm just going to do it."
Yeah.
And that's what we need. So hopefully, with some, I know Priscilla's been working on that with the team a lot, obviously. Hopefully with that, hopefully with getting some of these other guys in here now, like, again, I hate to say the rookies again, but I feel like the rookies have to set some of this tone because we specifically got guys that had a tough attitude. We wanted to bring that into the locker room. Like, that was something that was very clear that, Shane was trying to get into this locker room. So they're going to have to do some of that too. Like, I don't know if they got to bring all this offensive linemen out and have them hitting into telephone poles with Skattebo or whatever, but I mean, it's
Skattebo.
there. It's got to be there. And hopefully it is this year. And hopefully it's what we saw the first few weeks, because that was definitely much nicer than what we've been dealing with usually. That's for sure. So, all righty. Let's talk about the UFL. We don't talk about the UFL very often. Let's be frank about that there. We got to talk about it. We got the top 3 running backs out of the UFL this year were all former New York Giants. So we had the best of the worst. So number 1, just Sean Corbin. Remember him? Got a couple of years with him there. He signed off with us. I think at his stops. Was it? I forget where he had one stop for a little while and then came back to us. But he had 514 yards, 4 touchdowns this year. He again was a Giant with us back in 22 and 23. He just actually signed today too with the Atlanta Falcons. So he's going to get another shot at the NFL. So, best luck to him. Nothing to, obviously, we want anybody who's a Giant to succeed at that point. I just don't think it's going to happen, to be honest with you. I never thought he was that good when he was here, even, to be very frank with you guys. But he had his fans. He definitely had his fans. I mean, and, still leading the league, the UFL in rushing yards is still something. So I'm not trying to take away from him. I just don't think it's, enough at that point. So then you got Jacob Sailors, who we, of course, had last year in training camp, 499 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then Deion Jackson, who the Giants had back in 23, 417 yards and 4 touchdowns. I just thought it was interesting that all the top 3 running backs in the UFL were all former Giants. That's pretty crazy.
We pick out the worst talent in the league, but great somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, again, it's not just great somewhere else, because it's a huge difference, obviously, in the in the talent level. Let's be honest. The UFL is not exactly producing NFL players on a regular basis.
No.
And I think that was partially what they were hoping to get. Seems like when the XFL was out way back in the day during the Vince McMahon days of it, they had a couple guys, including He Hate Me, who made it out of there and got into the NFL. Even NFL Europe, look at that. I mean, he had James Harrison was on there for a little while. You had Kurt Warner played in the NFL Europe as well. So, like I said, that's just a little disappointing. I think the UFL overall is the total what they've done. Not to be like, not to think there's like 10,000 different players available. I mean, especially because the NFL changed their rules to the practice squad. Veterans are allowed to be on it now, and that definitely probably changed some of what talent they can get there. But like I said, I just don't think the UFL necessarily has been what they hoped it was going to be.
Yeah.
But at least, again, we can say top 3 were Giants. Top 3. All righty. And Jay, I don't know what's going on with you and Deb here today. You guys are both going back and forth in these comments like crazy. But Deb, I did see your comment there about the Believe, with Bob Papa, Carl Banks, Chris Bisignano, all getting a chance to interview Joe Shane. I was actually going to look at that and watch that as well, so I definitely would recommend it because, listen, Joe Shane doesn't get a chance to talk very often to people there like that. And I will say that I see the comment that that Jay made as well here about 3 out of the 4 guys get paychecks from the Giants. I do think that some of the stuff you see with like Papa and Carl Banks and all, they got it. And I'm not knocking them for it. This who signs the checks. They got to be careful. I don't talk trash about my boss. Like, that's life. But they're a little Homer-esque.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of have to.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah. Jay says, I should just interview Rob.
Be a great show.
Yeah. Rob, tell us about the time that you met a giant.
Oh, let me tell you a story of Gilgamesh.
Not that kind of giant.
Oh, no. It's the best story since Gilgamesh.
Perhaps a running back.
Anderson.
Otis Anderson. That story will live in infamy forever.
Yeah.
I didn't say famous. I said infamy. Jay said, let's hear it. No, Jay, you don't want to hear it.
Deb already heard it once.
If you want to hear it, no, this is before Deb actually watched it. So, listen, you can get the Cliff Notes version of your Otis Anderson story. It's okay.
Yeah.
Do it. Go get the Cliff Notes version.
Long story short, I did work with this guy down in Toms River who knew Otis and LT, and I helped him out, and he gave me a whole bunch of autograph stuff and thought I was a good guy and invited me to a free Otis Anderson jersey signing. And I was like, no way. And I took my buddy down there who's 6'7", humongous dude. And lo and behold, Otis Anderson showed up to a deli in Toms River, New Jersey, where he autographed my balls. Cliff Notes.
No, you have to get to that way. You have to specify now.
Which part do you want me to specify, man?
He clearly didn't. Yeah. Yeah.
He taught me how to hold my balls.
He signed a football.
What do you think I was talking about?
Well, you're the one who said the other way. Wow. Trying to make Otis Anderson look like a weirdo.
Yeah, I think you went there.
You went there. Anyway, let's get back to the news now that we've bored them with the Otis Anderson story. We've lost half the listeners. Anyway.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Let's talk about the top Giants this spring there. Again, this list actually is coming from Jordan Ronan, and obviously he spent a lot of time there, with the Giants there during the practices that were open to the media. And like we said before, we like listening to what he has to say because he doesn't care about pissing off the Giants as he works for ESPN. But he'll also, he's not like the guy that hates the Giants either. Like there's some media guys that you sit there and you go, okay, they never say a damn thing positive. Like he just point blank shoots it out like he sees. So this is him on X. He said, some Giants players who stood out this spring. Abdul Carter, wide receiver Darius Slayton, wide receiver Amir Smith-Marset, running back Dante Miller, cornerback Art Green, safety Dane Belton, safety Javon Holland, and tight end Daniel Bellinger. And then somebody asked him about Hyatt, that maybe he's a possible honorable mention. And then he tweeted back out, he said, probably should have put Jalen Hyatt on this list too, him too. So we'll include it since he meant to at that point. There's no editing button on extra stuff like that there after a little while. I think you get like a very specific amount of time to do it if you're paying for X, because we're able to. I forget how long you have though. So anyway, though, it's a good list. I mean, Abdul Carter, guys, listen, anybody who listens to people who have gone to the practices will tell you he's like been unblockable and a freaking beast. Again, I don't want to put too much on a rookie and say it's going to happen all year long. Maybe they're just doing things to beef up his self-esteem. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a guy who needs a self-esteem boost, but who knows? Darius Slayton. I think Darius Slayton gets bundled in with Jalen Hyatt. What it just boils down to is we have a guy who can throw a deep ball now. That's what this is, guys. when you can throw deep and you have guys who run deep, guess who's going to look good? The guys who run deep. Crazy. Absolutely insane. Amir Smith-Marset is a nice one to see as far as that. I think that's a nice one to see on that list because he doesn't ever really play receiver. So if he can get out there and actually provide something on offense, that'd be very nice. We got our guy, Turbo Miller here, Dante Turbo Miller.
It's double time.
Listen, guys, I've said it all this offseason. He's going to have a tough, hill to climb here to get onto this roster because you have 3 running backs right now in Tracy, Motor, and Skattebo. They're going to make the roster. So you'd have to have a 4th one to make it. I think his best bet is to excel in special teams and then from there make the roster and try to get a couple carries and get something going here because I still am rooting for this kid. I still just have this weird vibe that he's going to be good. He's just last year he's coming back from not playing, a year and a half. So I mean, yeah, he needed some time.
Yeah,
but he's going to be someone I think that will eventually contribute in this team if we are able even to hold on to him long enough for that to happen. I'll put it that way, because if the Giants don't take him onto this roster, eventually someone's going to snatch him and see what they got. Ark Green. That's a nice one too, because that's the guy we got last year for nothing basically, and we need depth at the corner position, guys. Like everybody talks about depth. It's funny. Everybody talks about depth at the wide receiver position. Like, you need 4 or 5 wide receivers. Well, guess what, guys? If you need 4 or 5 wide receivers, guess what you need the other side of the ball? 4 or 5 corners.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be having teams looking to do that depth thing with the wide receiver thing, and you're like, I don't need a lot of corners. Yes, you do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, play it out.
Yeah. And then Deb says, don't forget about Eric Gray, one of your favorites that I mentioned. I didn't mention him for a reason. He's not going to make the roster. So Dane Belton. Interesting ad there, because Dane Belton is one of those guys that he seems to show up at the right time at the right place.
Yeah.
Always has that knack. But then he also makes horrible plays every so often to counter affects it.
Yeah. Was it 2 years ago? He was right there for a few nice picks.
Yep.
But also gave up quite a bit of yards from not being in the right spot.
Yeah. Wrong spot in the defense, taking bad angles, and he's been now in this league long enough where you can't use he's a young player excuse anymore. You've been in a couple of years.
Yeah.
You got to figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, we're going to question whether or not you ever can figure it out. It's a legitimate question.
He's been in the league long enough. He's definitely should know his job by now.
Exactly. Javon Holland, another nice name for the safety position there. I like the fact that he's on there. I'm expecting big things out of Javon Holland this year. I am. And partially because we need it. Be very frank there. We need it.
Yeah.
But he's a guy with a lot of talent. He's probably the best guy we've had to cover corners and running backs, and cover tight ends and running backs in I don't know how many years. So I'm expecting a big role out of him. And the surprise to me was Bellinger. Like, that's kind of a little shocking to me. Daniel Bellinger, they were talking about cutting him last year even. Like, remember the rumors were going around, we might have to cut Daniel Bellinger. And yet somehow they, kept him on the roster, didn't really play him very much. And again, the writing's on the wall where you go, maybe he's not going to make it this year. Like, you're starting off behind the 8 ball, so to speak there, But so far, so good for him. He seems to be figuring it out and, doing something this year. And listen, whether or not he has a big role with the Giants is an important year for him overall, because if he doesn't look good this year in his 4th year, he's looking for a job. This is I want to stay with this team / audition kind of year for him. That's what I look at it as. And if that's what he wants to do, he's going to have to get off his tuchus there and put the work in and get going. So, like I said, just interesting names, because you didn't see the quarterbacks at all listed. You didn't see guys you're hoping for big second years like Drew Phillips, a guy like Tyrone Tracy. It's interesting there. And then let's see. Jay says Bellinger earned So performance pay. So I expect Shane to do his tourist treats like he did to McLeod. Tourist threats. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen with this one. I think Bellinger is going to be just they keep him or they don't. But if he continues playing well, they're going to keep him.
Yeah, it's that whole, I don't know. Like you said, I don't think there's going to be any games. It's when it comes to tight ends with the Giants, like there's never really any controversy. It's like, oh, we drafted a new one. Yeah, the other one's probably gone. You might be in backup. Like, we'll see, maybe.
Yeah,
let's stay for a couple mil, nothing crazy. Yeah, sure.
Like I said, it's the money's definitely there. Like I'm not disputing that part of it. There, where's he at this year? Daniel Bellinger. I know it's a couple million potentially because it's last year.
2?
Maybe he said terrorist threats, not tourist threats. I was wondering what he meant by tourist threats.
Yeah,
he changed it up. I'm like, tourist. If you don't play better, we're gonna make you go to London.
Yeah,
and
you are going to see the Eiffel Tower.
Yes, we will bring you to the Leaning Tower of Pisa as well. It'll be all the towers.
Yeah,
tourist threats. Like, so he's on his cap number this year is 3.6, and all but 200,000 of it is savable if we cut him. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got to earn a spot. He's gonna have to do it.
Yeah. So he's telling me the Giants could, save $3.5 million if you cut him.
3.4, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's gonna
have to earn that spot.
He's gonna have to, and everybody should have to. That's the way it's supposed to be. You keep the best. You figure out the contract stuff later. So, all righty, guys. That's going to call it a day for us here. We'll be back again for you guys tomorrow night, though, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time there. And, of course, we are live on YouTube, which is the preferred way to watch. Facebook, X/Twitter, or whatever you want to call it nowadays. Twitch. Link, not my LinkedIn. Kick. I almost forgot Kick, which I think I may stop Kick. Honestly, no one ever watches it on Kick except for the spammers. We get the spams, and it ruins the chat.
That's a good spam. You can't make.
So if you're watching us on Kick, put a comment in, a legitimate comment during on YouTube. Tell us that because I don't going to go over to Kick. I'm still trying to figure out Kick. It's not working well.
Don't try to sell us a solar.
Might have to kick here. Yeah. And of course, as always, we're on
don't take it from
favorite my LinkedIn profile. And we're available the next day with the audio version there with, of course, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all the big ones there. Listen, guys, if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button. We'll be back again, like I said, tomorrow night. We will see you there. And of course, as always, Giant fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man! G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.